Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. You know, firearms have dominated the national conversation lately, and there have been very many terms used that, quite honestly, I would imagine it can be quite confusing. So I thought I would place some firearms on the table, have a little discussion about one of those terms, high capacity handguns. Okay? I've heard the term high capacity handguns used often. And as I understand the definition, it includes a semi-automatic handgun that contains a magazine with a capacity exceeding 10 rounds. Now, I've been around firearms most all of my life. My father began to teach me to shoot when I was a young boy. I began to compete soon after. And I have done so and enjoyed firearms many decades since. During that time, I've met all manners of individuals who enjoy firearms and use them. People such as competitors, hunters. Professionals such as law enforcement and military. I have sought a great deal of instruction, training to understand firearms and how they may be used. So here you go. One of my favorite videos to make on my YouTube channel is to simply place down a tarp, place some guns on top of that tarp and talk about them. These are all my firearms. And no, this is not all the firearms that could be defined as a high capacity handgun. This is not about what's best. These are just some examples. So those who may not see firearms too often, may not know much about them, can at least see some examples of what they look like. Over here we have a Glock 23. Glock is a very popular firearm, and the 23 is a compact handgun often chosen for defense, for concealed carry. It's chambered in .40 Smith & Wesson. Over here we have a upgraded version of a very old design. This is a Para-Ordnance Night Tac. It's based off of a 1911, but it contains a 15 round standard magazine capacity. Over here, another Glock. This is the Glock 20. It's chambered in 10mm, and the magazine capacity is 15 rounds. Over here is a fine firearm. This is the Sig Sauer P226. Some may have seen it used by law enforcement. There are even groups in the military that use the P226, although that one is chambered in .40 Smith & Wesson. Over here we have an HK, Heckler and Koch Usp Expert. A firearm designed for competition, would be an outstanding choice for home protection. It's chambered in .40 Smith & Wesson and has a standard capacity of 16 rounds. Here's a Glock 19, probably one of the more popular models of the Glock handguns. It's chambered in 9mm, has a 15 round capacity, often chosen for defense and concealed carry. Over here is the Beretta. This is a Beretta 92 FS, a civilian version, very similar to what the military and law enforcement use. Over here is another Beretta. It's a 380, and most people don't think of a 380 as a high capacity handgun, but this is the Beretta model 84. And the standard magazine capacity is 13 rounds. Here's a Springfield Armory Xdm. A fine shooting handgun. I've enjoyed it immensely. Magazine capacity, 16 rounds of .40 Smith & Wesson. Here's another Heckler and Koch. This is the P30. A newer design, more ergonomic, often chosen for defense. 13 round capacity of .40 Smith & Wesson. Here is a Smith & Wesson M P. Very popular firearm today. This one happens to be chambered in 9mm. Here's another Smith & Wesson M P. This one has a longer slide. Very good gun for home defense, for competition. This one has contains a magazine with 15 rounds of .40 Smith & Wesson. Here We have an example of the first design of Glock, the Glock 17. And although this is the third generation of that design, it is still very popular today. Here's a Sig Sauer P226, which boasts the ability to convert to other chamberings. This one is in 9mm, but you can get it in 40 Smith & Wesson and 357 Sig and 45. Outstanding firearm. Here's another Smith & Wesson Pro Series. It's the M P, and it's chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson. Contains a magazine that holds 15 rounds. This last firearm is an EAA Witness Hunter, and as the name implies, it's a 10mm. Although the firearm contains a magazine with a capacity of 15 rounds. These are my guns, and I have enjoyed using them. I feel that they're good quality guns. Most of the use has been mere target shooting, enjoyment. But most every one of the guns on this table at one time or another I have loaded to keep for defense, whether at home or concealed carry when I'm outside of my home, to protect myself, to protect my family. None of these guns have ever been used to commit a crime. But these are some examples of a high capacity handgun. I hope you've enjoyed my video. You know, folks that watch my videos often see me put this green tarp out and place some firearms upon it and begin to talk. I enjoy firearms immensely. I hope you enjoyed watching. Thank you, and remember to shoot straight on the range and in life.